So my channel, we're creating this. We're creating a show called Whelp, like Whelp, and it's based off of actual outrageous Yelp reviews. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
we're turning those Yelp reviews into a drunk history style sketch comedy where we actually reenact the scenes but make it more like, oh shit, like the bartender spilled my drink all over me, so instead of accidentally spilling
yeah.
it, we're gonna be like spilling it on their face, and it's like make it super dramatic.
Yeah, just
like,
to show how ridiculous and their claims are, right? Just like this waitress, she did not give me this attention.
yeah,
It's like,
yeah,
like literally, if you reenacted that, it would look like it would. It doesn't look like a plausible scene. Yeah.
yeah. And here's the problem with like Yelp reviewers. It's like I was talking about it with one of my mentors, and he was like, "Dude, like this fucking Yelp scene, like this Yelp scene thing going on. It was cool at first, but then people are taking it way too seriously. Like that South Park episode where they think like they're like, oh, it's fucking like I'm legit or I'm a Yelper." Just like how these Instagram influencers, right? Influencers, they're like, hey, I'm an influencer. I can do this, blah, blah. It's like, okay, first off, shut the fuck up. Like, a lot of these reviewers, they're like, they're willing to get someone fired because they had a bad meal. And
No.
what a lot of the service industry says about them, it's kind of like, well, this person also doesn't know that if the server or bartender is having, like, let's say a bad day, let's say someone passed away very important to them recently and they still have to work and all that stuff, which is legit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But a lot of and you know, I thought about those claims from the service industry people, and you know, we're both in the service industry, and it's kind of like, it kind of makes me think, it's like, dude, I've had a lot of encounters with people who say stuff on Yelp, this and that. Oh, we had a bad meal. Yes, it's our job to put everything behind us, and when we're working, we're working. But at the same time, it's also hard to do that. And a lot of people dining or drinking at these places, they kind of forget that the people serving them, that, you know, like, I feel like they forget that they're human too, you know what I mean?
Well, in my opinion, I have two things to say about that. One is that I don't think they're complaining over a bad meal. I think they are complaining most of the time. Yes, there are bad meals, but I think a lot of these guys who are complaining are like, I'm not getting the top of the line treatment service. It's like, I don't know who you are. I don't know your Instagram. I don't know your YouTube channel. Like, you're just like everyone else in here. Why do I need to serve you better? Like, I've had people who will be like, I'm a YouTube channel. I have a YouTube channel with like this many subscribers. I'm like, okay, so who? I don't care. Like, I don't care if you're Justin Bieber. Like, we're not gonna treat you like, we're not gonna be like, oh my god, we have a star in this thing. So that's the first thing I want to say. The second thing is,
come on.
okay, wait, I lost my train of thought. You were talking about like
Yelpers and people who are like entitled to a lot of things.
They don't view people who work in the restaurant industry as people. They see them as like a servant. They see them not even as a servant. It's like worse than a servant. Because when you have a maid, you know, you're like nice to them. But it's almost like like this group of people who are almost like, the server is my enemy. And unfortunately, it makes this culture where, and we've seen it, where we're like, oh, the customers is our enemy. Because, you know, it's like a counterattack. And it's like, dude, we all just, we can coexist in this ecosystem. Just treat me nice and I'll treat you nice. Literally, like, we don't, the server is not your enemy. Right? You're paying their bills. They're not intentionally trying to give you the worst service possible because they depend
They're
on
trying to
your
give
tip.
you the best to their abilities.
Exactly. So when you have
Like,
a server who's messing up because they're overwhelmed either by the personal life or just because it's just so busy and they're just like overwhelmed, they're not doing this on purpose because they need
yeah.
you. They need you to tip them so they can pay their bills. They're not doing this on purpose. Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, why people
Yeah,
think that.
exactly.
It doesn't make sense. Like, why people think bad service is like worth yelling about. Like, no, they're trying their best. They're not. Like, there's no situation. Like, imagine like the only situation.
You're not paying attention to me, and they're the only server. And you have a restaurant that has a capacity of, like, let's say 50 people. It's a full house. It's like, oh, they're not paying attention to me. It's like, how about the other people? How would you feel?
You're
Like-
absolutely right. It's like, no, they're. Yeah, nobody's trying to make your service the worst experience ever. Like, no, we're doing our best. Like, nobody is trying to sabotage your little birthday party. Your no, even when it's like not our best performance, we're trying our best. We're not. We have nothing against you. We're not. I'm sorry that this is not your ideal bachelorette, your ideal promotion, your ideal birthday party. No, like, we're trying our best, like, because we need your money. We're not. There's no incentive for us to slack off. Like, we are hustling, and it's
And there's no reason for us to hate on you from the get-go.
Yeah,
You know what I
there's
mean?
no reason for that. It's like, we're doing our best. Like, if there's something wrong with the food, yes, it happens. Like, whenever I've been a server too. It's like, we're not. I'm sorry that your Caesar salad has croutons, because you said, but it's not intentional. We're not trying to make it hard on you because we depend on your satisfaction to pay our bills. So we're not doing that on purpose. We're trying our, people like, oh, your best is not good enough.
In New York, there's a lot of like entertainment industry people, like actors and actresses and all that stuff, and a lot of them do go to restaurants and bars and all that stuff. And I've had more than my fair share of horrible interactions with them, and a lot of them are like good interactions with them. You know what I mean? But the horrible ones are mostly like the aspiring ones, and it's kind of like they haven't gotten their big break yet or whatever. And it's kind of like, dude, like why you giving us like a hard time? Like who the fuck are you?
Especially when you're the one who is struggling too. Like,
yeah.
What's that quote? It's like the other person who is struggling is not your enemy, or something like that. Like, other people who are struggling, that's not your enemy. Like, how do we create this culture where you're gonna cater
but
to?
If it's on their side, it's like, oh, I'm sorry, I acted the wrong way and all that stuff, and they're gonna complain, I can't believe I got fired. It's like, well, your acting sucks. Like, in the service industry, it's like, oh, dude, my meal is wrong. It's not, my burger's not medium rare.
Yeah.
Like, well, I didn't make your burger, the kitchen did, but I'm willing to work with you.
Yeah.
To kind of like, hey, depending on, the establishment, right? It's like, oh, can I offer you like fries or an extra side, or just comp the fucking burger and all that stuff. And like, the server, like a lot of people think who give servers and bartenders shit for like the wrong food order, for example.
Yeah,
It's like you realize that they're not the ones who made that meal for you. You know what I mean?
exactly.
And we're not gonna chop up your burger to check if it's medium rare or however you wanted it ordered. Like it's served like this, and if there's a mistake, we're willing to work with you. It's always like that, you know.